Hi everyone, this is Father Leo Paddlinghook with platinggrace.com, and in this video I want to share two messages with you. They both deal with the pro-life movement. The first has to do with my experiences at the March for Life in 2021. This year it was a virtual experience, and I didn't really see a lot of virtual things going on, which is why I went myself, and I was invited to concelebrate with a diocese in Charlotte, North Carolina. They normally have a contingency there of, I don't know, a couple thousand people maybe, and they fill up the cathedral shrine of the Basilica of the Immaculate Conception. You know it. It's the iconic, beautiful building that we have in the Archdiocese of Washington. But this time around, it was me and three other concelebrating priests. There were a few other priests there to help and assist, and then there were some seminarians and a small handful of parishioners who attended that Mass. And the homilist offered something that was really quite beautiful. He mentioned that, there is a separation of church and state, and that's something that y'all have to respect. I do, and I'm grateful for it. But he said that what the church is asking the state to do is to protect life, because that's their job. And he asked for the state to respect what the church's job is, and that's to proclaim Jesus Christ. And so that message about just simply asking the government to do what it's supposed to do, and that's to protect life, and then simply allowing the church to do what the church does best, proclaim the message of Jesus Christ without feeling like we are being hateful if we talk about the pro-life message, to say that we don't like women or their choice because we want to protect the dignity of human life. These are inconsistencies. Another inconsistency that I experienced was at the March of Life itself. Now, granted, it was incredibly cold, so I actually didn't want to walk from one distance to the other, but I did walk and spent a lot of time outside, but particularly outside the shrine, praying a little bit of the rosary, and then also in front of St. Joseph's Church, which is the Catholic Church on Capitol Hill, just a block away from the Supreme Court. Normally, St. Joseph's Catholic Church, and they are wonderful people there. They have the church opened up. Sometimes they're handing out cocoa or something warm for pilgrimage. But more importantly, they've opened the doors so that people can come in prayer. And this was no different. When I came in, there were people praying. And you know what? Young people praying. They were praying in silence, preparing for Mass. Some asked if I could hear their confession. They asked for a blessing. But then there was something unique happened outside. Outside, as marchers were walking across the street on the side of the Senate building, which was just open at one point, and then they just kept walking. But that led to the break in the barrier that they had, these, 12-foot fences with the wire chain, the kind of things that you would see in a prison system, really. But as these pilgrims were walking, and granted, some of them had roses, some of them had signs, some of them, one even had a child in tow. But as they came to the break in the barrier where they let people in and out, about 20 guards came in with riot gear, face masks, batons, shields, guns. And I know that it was in response to the January 6th riots, and as many people would call it, an insurrection. And I get it. People want to keep those people safe. But the pro-life march and the pro-life marchers want to do the same. I know that there are people who are extremists, but they are literally a 0.001%, as opposed to people who are extremists on the other side, which I'm afraid is continuing to grow. An extreme group that wants people to be able to be aborted even up until death. And I said people because that's what an unborn child is. It's a person. And so they're extremists, and that movement is continuing to grow. And that's why I was a little intimidated and frustrated and actually sad for our country that we treat peaceful protesters. Not a window was broken, not a spray paint was used on a wall, not a negative slur. Granted, we are passionate about protecting unborn lives and all lives after that, but if you don't protect that first, then it's a slippery slope for disregarding life at other stages. And to be treated like that simply because of an insurrection as horrible and as evil as that situation was, and there's no excuse for it, there's also no excuse to intimidate people who have the right to peacefully protest and to stand up and be a witness of life. The second thing I want to do is connected, and that's invite you to continue to be formed in your faith. The livingprolife.com conference, although the live portions have ended, can still be viewed again and again and again, along with 20 plus speakers giving over 50 presentations on the issues of life. And I'm discovering more and more as a Catholic priest who travels and meets people and encountering pro-abortion, pro-culture of death folks, they always ask the same questions. And so me and my team, we organized those questions and we collaborated with Catholic Speakers Organization, and we brought the best speakers in so that we can address every one of those questions point by point in an honest, factual, scientific, but also compassionate and loving way. And so I want to encourage you, do not let your efforts to the pro-life movement be limited to just the March for Life and the Rosary month of October. We need to be pro-life marchers every day, if not on the streets of the capital, then on the streets of our own neighborhoods, by how we live our lives, welcoming people, certainly not afraid to challenge people, but always willing to eat with them and to feed them, even if they don't want to eat with us, which is going to be something that I'm going to talk about in a few email blasts in the future. But for now, I just want to encourage you to make sure that you are being informed and formed as a true pro-life witness. And I thank you for listening to this message, and I hope between now and the next time we communicate, stay hungry for God.